Good evening. This is Miss Barrington here. As promised, wanted to give you guys an introductory video to the main programs that you guys will be utilizing during your time in graphic communication. The three main programs that I want to talk about with you all is Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, of which you will see those three programs right down here at the bottom of my screen. The first one is Adobe Illustrator, which is the yellow icon. The second is Adobe InDesign, which is the purple icon. And the last is Adobe Photoshop, which is the blue icon. All three programs are utilized for different reasons. Adobe Illustrator, or the yellow icon, is used mostly for vector creations when you are doing illustrations and logo design. The purple icon, the InDesign icon, is actually used for page layout. When you are designing newsletters and magazine layouts, you will use InDesign. And then Photoshop is used for editing photos. That is the primary use for Photoshop. However, you can, on very little occasions, use Photoshop for logo design as well. The difference between using Photoshop versus Illustrator for logo design is that Illustrator creates vectors. Vectors are creations of any image without losing the quality, and I will show you very soon exactly what that means. In each program, you will have to set up your document, and that's simply done by clicking File and New at the top of your toolbar. You will always make sure your units are in inches, and letter is the main size, or 8.5 by 11. We've talked about that quite often. Okay, you go ahead and open that up and you'll get a blank board that looks like this in pretty much each one of the programs. Here I will draw a simple shape, which is a rectangle, and I will fill it with black, and I will show you exactly what I mean by also doing the same thing in Photoshop. Here you will see, similar to the same preview of or item, but once we begin to zoom in, you'll see exactly what I mean. Okay, so bear with me for a moment. Alright, so here is the black square in Illustrator. The point of a vector, and I'm going to zoom in to an extremely close point of this square. As you can see, it still is very, very clear. I can zoom in even more. It still is very, very clear, very crisp. When you print it out very large, and this could be the size of a house, and you will not lose quality depending on what you save your file to look like. Okay, so this is Illustrator. Now in Photoshop, we're going to zoom in the same way. And as we get closer, you'll see all of these squares. These squares are called pixels, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But this is when you start losing quality, and you never want to lose quality when you're trying to produce quality work. And finally, there's InDesign. In InDesign, you're able to set up new documents as well. Letter, there it is again, is how you set up your pages for your typical manual or newsletter or magazine layout. And you can draw text boxes and fill it with type. Okay, and you can also manage to make columns for these as well. I'm working on looking for that option. Give me one moment. Okay, so that's 2 columns of text. That would be 3 columns of text, and 4 and 5 and so on and so forth. Okay, so these specific programs are used for these specific reasons and should not be used for any other reason besides what I specified. Okay, so here I'll pull it up again so that you can see these are all called applications. Okay, your Adobe Illustrator, which is this yellow icon, is used for vectors. when you want to create logos and you want to create illustrations that can be blown up and made larger or smaller. This is where you will get your highest resolution of images. Okay. Then you have your Photoshop. Okay, this is blue. Photoshop is used for photos. Okay, see that word right there? It was intentionally used or built to edit your photography. However, it does give you quite a bit of capabilities and is used for graphic design such as flyers and posters and things like that as well. But you do not get the highest quality possible like you would if you were using Illustrator. And then lastly, there's InDesign. Here's InDesign. It is purple. The InDesign is used when you want to do page layouts, newsletters, brochures, and things that deal with a lot of text. Photoshop and Illustrator especially do not do well with heavy amounts of text, just like you see back here behind us. Okay, so you will only use InDesign for that. Tomorrow when you guys get in, I would like for you to be able to explain to me the difference between these three programs. That is InDesign, or the ID, that stands for, the I stands for the I stands for in, the D stands for design. Okay, here we have Photoshop. Okay, the P stands for photo, the S stands for shop, and then we have Illustrator. Okay, the A stands for Adobe, the I stands for Illustrator. Okay, please recognize what these colors are, what they stand for, and what each program does. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I look forward to working with you tomorrow. Wonderful job on your projects today, and see you in the morning.